ready for them Chiefs? Y'all ready for them Chiefs?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are and however you're watching this, I appreciate it. I decided to do this without the picture because it's not about who's talking, it's about what we're talking about. And I just wanted to discuss some things that caught my attention regarding the NFL. My grandma always said, in order to get the position that I want or do the things that I want, I have to be twice as good as my counterpart. And I legit really just kind of want to give you guys something to think about, so bear with me to the end because it's something that's caught my attention. The NFL has the Rooney Rule, which stipulates or basically forces an NFL club to interview a woman and a minority for a position of prominence within the club. Now, we can touch on that later or on another video because none of that is really what I'm interested in at the moment. Back in the 1930s, the NFL had a ban on African American players. So much so that white players from the South, if they had a black player on the team, they said they would physically hurt them. There really was a pioneer. His name was George Taliaferro. And in there, Taliaferro wanted to be a quarterback, and the Denver Broncos wanted to make him a receiver. So before he signed with them, and I might have these two gentlemen mixed up, so if I do, let me know. But Taliaferro had it put in his contract that he would sign with the Broncos if he was allowed to go to their quarterback camp because he really wanted to be a quarterback. They let him go, but they didn't give him all the opportunities, and he didn't end up being a quarterback. Then there was Martin Briscoe. Martin Briscoe got entered into a game. He was a black quarterback, got entered into a game, went 3 for 8, took his team down for a touchdown, and then they benched him for Johnny Unitas. Now, it's Johnny Unitas, so, I mean, there is that. But the makeup or the thoughts on the African-American quarterback, I want to tell you guys that the inside linebacker, center, quarterback were considered thinking positions on an NFL team. And where whites back then were willing to concede that we as blacks were evolved physically, that we were as much evolved as we were physically, we were unevolved mentally, more closer to animals than anything else. So this is why they tried to convert us to cornerbacks, receivers, running backs. Here's some of the things that they said. Blacks lacked the physical stamina and emotional courage to excel at boxing or football. We lacked the leadership and grit to lead other players and perform under duress. That the NFL offense was too complex for us to wrap our minds around and be successful at the quarterback position. This is the same things that were said about Doug Williams. And for those of you who don't know who Doug Williams is, he was the first black quarterback to ever be selected in the first round. And he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. where the offensive coordinator at that time was Joe Gibbs. And Tampa Bay won their first 3 division titles in his first 5 years there. But the head coach didn't want him, so he bounced around the USFL until Joe Gibbs was the manager of the Redskins, and then he brought Doug Williams back. And Doug Williams told Joe Gibbs, I'll be any kind of quarterback you want me to be. And Joe Gibbs was the first black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl. You ready for this? You ready? Lacks the leadership and grit to lead other players and perform under duress. One of the things left out of the Doug Williams story is that Doug Williams played the Super Bowl less than 24 hours after getting a root canal. And this was 50 years ago. So root canals then are way different than they are now. Can you imagine the pain he was in, still taking hits for 60 plus minutes? Doug Williams, they had so much lack of faith in Doug Williams' ability to lead a team as a black quarterback. They paid him $120,000. Now, I know what you're saying. $120,000 is a whole lot of money, even back then. It is, except for the fact that he was paid lower than every other starting quarterback and 12 backups. He's a starting quarterback for an NFL franchise, and 12 backups made more than him. I say that to get you to where I'm going now. Mike Sando and his quarterback tiers. You're going to say, but Bryan, Mahomes is tier 1. He is. But 6, let me see, make sure I got it right because I want my facts straight. 6 GMs, 8 head coaches, 10 talent evaluators, 12 coordinators, 6 QB coaches, 7 executives, and 1 team's personnel department. These are the people that he interviewed for this tier thing. And I'm sorry, like, I know you have to put Mahomes tier 1 because you want to make sure that it seems that there's some validity to what you're talking about, but I want you guys to listen to some of the comments. Mahomes, if you take him off his first read, he plays street ball, right? Even though we know that's not true, and for those of you who don't put faith in PFF says it's not true, but that goes back to mentally uninvolved and the fact that the NFL offense is too complex. Because if he can't get his one read, then he has to resort to playing using his physical gifts. This is what they said about Mahomes. Russell Wilson, who is in tier 2, with all that Russell's done, the records that Russell has set, he's too high maintenance. So lacks the physical and emotional courage to excel. Kyler Murray, who for all of his introvertedness and all of that, they lack his decision-making ability. Lacks the leadership and grit to lead other players and perform under duress. All these things have been said about the black QB since the 1930s. And underhandedly, they're saying them again. All the other quarterbacks that are in tier 1 were praised. Brady, his mental acumen, Joe Burrow's a young Tom Brady. Oh. I forgot about Lamar, the unanimous MVP, and how they tried to make him a running back when he first got out of college. You know, they said that Josh Allen is Lamar 2.0. Even when they criticized Josh Allen, who was in tier one, his criticism was light, and they still loved him as a football player, and he's going to evolve so much. But to call him a Lamar 2.0, except he's a quarterback and Lamar is a running back, it's all the stereotypes still. What, almost 100 years later? So I'm really just saying, or bringing to your attention, I'm giving you food for thought. NFL players are the top 0.5% of anybody that does athletics. Like, of all the people in the world, only so many people are good enough to play football. That is their profession. That is what they do for a living. Whether you answer phones, you're a contractor, you deliver pizzas, you're a strength and conditioning coach, whatever. Everybody has their own profession. And we scream about equality and being labeled and misjudged and hunkered into a group of people that maybe you don't belong in. These athletes, these athletes who are drafted, signed, they play with the threat of never playing again, one injury away from never playing again. We hold these people, and this is the whole NFL. This isn't about white or black right now. We hold these people to such a high standard, a high moral standard, but we still allow this kind of comments about black QBs to go no further than the obligatory question. And Mahomes is so humble. Yeah, it's weird. No, it's wrong. It's dead wrong. Because if he wasn't Patrick Mahomes, NFL quarterback, franchise quarterback of the Chiefs, and he worked in McDonald's, that's a different conversation. If we're screaming and wanting all this equality across classes and across genders, don't the guys that play this sport that brings a lot of people together and puts a moment of enjoyment in our lives, don't they deserve the same treatment? I need to say these are my thoughts and my thoughts alone. Please do not use this to look at Ryan or my partner's Keys and any other way. This is me talking. And it only struck my attention because of the first thing I said when I came in. My grandma always told me, in order to get the things I want, I had to be twice as smart and twice as good as my counterpart. And the one thing that Mahomes, Lamar, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott in most cases, one thing they are is better than most of their contemporaries, and they still get treated as if they're not smart enough, they belong in a separate class, or just inferior. Joe Burrow's had one good season. They called him a young Tom Brady. Justin Herbert has a 15-17 record. Oh, he's the truth. Josh Allen is better than Mahomes right now, but he's better than the Mahomes who has a regular season and Super Bowl MVP. He's better. Is he? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Again, just food for thought because it was something that had weighed on me. Um, these are my thoughts alone. I'm just thankful that I have a platform that I can put it out on. Please do not attack Ryan for this. Do not attack my boys for this. Aaron and Keys, these are my thoughts. I appreciate all of you listening. Make sure you tune in. This is the first and probably only interpromotional, unscripted rogue life. I appreciate all of you who listen. I will answer any comments. You can go in the comments on either of the channels, and I will read them. I will answer them. But it was something that I need to get off my chest. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you tell somebody you love them. Tomorrow's not promised. Treat your fellow neighbor with respect, and let's move forward. I'm out.
You got your team, and we got a kingdom. Ready for war, we score